Alright, so what's up everyone? Today we'll be taking a look at the Insanity mode that I recently created for Kingdom Rush Alliance, which basically, well, it's aimed to make the game a lot harder, like every single stage up until the second act has been vastly overhauled, the wave compositions have been changed all around. Also, there have been some balance changes to some of the towers and the heroes, which I decided to implement since some of them were underwhelming, while others were a little bit better than the others, and well, I like to keep it balanced all around. Well, I guess for the first part it won't be that special since, yeah, it's the tutorial after all, and there is not expected to be a whole lot happening. I mean, that is a little bit unusual, seeing one of the Hoglins get past the Royal Archers. I guess that is because the spacing is a little bit off, and that is the main issue regarding that. It's interesting to see what will happen though. It seems that I'm not even losing a life. Okay, finally. That was interesting. Already losing a life on wave 1 of the tutorial. Ghost showed that the mod is definitely hard. Honestly, I haven't tried it yet without level 10 heroes, so I'm really curious to see how it will turn out. Also, it seems that the waves are not exactly the same as the ones that I have implemented, but I guess that is mainly because it's me first time playing this level. Okay, so we'll see if there have been any changes. Okay, so already we can see that there are way more Hoglins than usual. Also, the pacing is really fast, and there is also a Bear Vanguard on wave 5, which is a little bit crazy to think about. Also, without any artilleries, the early game might be a little bit hard for us. I definitely need to rely on Vesper's hero spell, otherwise, well, it may not look that well. But I mean, I'm going to lose lives already on the first stage, like, that's just crazy. Okay, finally got Vesper's hero spell, but it didn't really help our case a whole lot. Also, after I beat this level, I'll try to, I guess, explain some of the main things that have been changed in the mode, since it will be good for you to know. Okay, I guess we will be able to beat this level with 3 stars. Kinda unexpected, honestly. I was hoping for at least 2, but I guess that also works. Also seeing a bear already on the first stage is really weird. But I mean, we are actually playing on normal right now, so I'll immediately switch to veteran after we beat this level. Just so we make things a little bit more interesting, I won't be playing on impossible, since I'm a little bit, how do you say it, lazy to try and search the code to switch the difficulty by default. But okay, this was the first stage, as you can see, a whole lot more overwhelming than usual. Also, I might have given Vesper a little bit of XP amplifier for his basic ranged attacks, just so I wanted to make my life a little bit easier. So this ability right here, it's a little bit busted. I made it so it can ricochet up to 15 targets, and also the bounce is quite huge. I mean, almost every single ability of Vesper has been buffed significantly, but yeah. Okay, 1 second.
Zаяc, mečtaješ si
So I can open the chat to see what is going on. Okay, let's jump to veteran and start wave 2. Let me guess, I'm not because of insanity mode. Well, I don't really know. Just wanted to find a name that tries to, I guess, show what the main purpose of the mode was, and I stumbled on insanity, which sounded good to me. Yeah, I mean, also, you can see that Regan is a little bit faster than usual, since I also buffed her. I guess that's just quality of life thing. Also, it's a little bit strange, but I don't recall this level having only 5 waves. Huh. I guess that's something that I didn't experience during my first time, but that's really peculiar. But yeah, we already have a mode and the game has been released for like a week, which is a little bit crazy. I've basically also, if you saw this, yeah, Vesper's Ricochet Arrows is a little bit busted. I mean, I've increased the cooldown to try and balance it out, but at the same time, it didn't help out a lot. But I guess that's his main purpose. He's now an area control type of hero. But the arrow doesn't happen quite a lot. I mean, yeah, it definitely helped us out here, but also, yeah, once again, Vesper has a little bit of an XP amplifier, just so, well, we don't get stuck on stage 3 or stage 4, because I have under-leveled heroes, and that was the main concern that I had going on into this mode. But once again, this stage is not what it had to be. Like, we only have 5 waves, so I don't really know what's going on here. Did I change any of the heroes behind Therian? Well, Vesper and Regin have been vastly buffed to compensate for the wave compositions, which have been like made crazy. Also, I mean, basically every single hero has been buffed, even the dragons, just so they don't really fall apart by the time you get to them. But I'm really curious to see what was actually the main reason why we didn't get the right enemy waves. Because I mean, yeah, we have the 5 waves for this level, but we also got the same for the second one, which I don't really have a clue why that's the case. Yeah, that's really strange, honestly. Well, I mainly buffed some of the towers. There weren't any nerfs. Okay, we have 10 waves for this level, so I hope that everything is fine now. At least what I noticed is that Tree Cannon might be a little bit overpowered, at least for this mode, since there are a lot of enemies to think about. And I might need to nerf it later on, since I still have a lot of work to do when it comes to balancing and such. Also, yeah, for those who do not know, I actually made a mode, which is rather surprising considering that I've never done one. But I guess after getting the decompiled files, it wasn't really hard, honestly. Also, I will be leaving a link for the mode after I've completed it, since right now it's still in the beta version, and I'm not really satisfied with how it is right now. I mean, it's okay for showcasing purposes, but I still have a lot of work on it, and after I finished it, then I will post a link for it. It will most likely be in my Discord server, so if any of you would like to get your hands on the mode after I've completed it, well, you can, I guess, join my Discord server. It should be in the description of this live stream. I will also be posting any updates regarding the mode there, so yeah. Also, we have a lot of bear vanguards already on wave 4 it is. And I'm actually struggling. Well, I guess I didn't really upgrade any of Relin's skills. It would have helped out a lot. So this is a thing that I will most likely do if I fail this level. Which, who knows, it may or may not happen. I mean, at least I have the movement speed. Like right now, she feels like Nairo or Grimson. At least when compared to them, they basically have a really similar movement speed. Also, once again, I don't really feel good for this attempt. Yeah, this might be over. Okay, I'll try to just get Regan to level 5 and then we'll get some of her abilities and it should be slightly easier. Also, for the most part, I've mainly nerfed those guys. I made them appear way less, since they're just annoying. Like, they really restrict a lot of your strategies. I mean, Vesper is a really solid counter to them, but at the same time, I really wanted artilleries to be way more viable. Also, the ricochet is just crazy. Like, did you see that? Bro basically cleared the whole screen.
To the king, always on target.
I am unrivaled.
Also, I know that there is already a mod which allows you to play with unlimited heroes, like you can have as many heroes in a single stage as you like, but I tried to download it and it didn't work for me for some reason. So I will be taking a look at it as well in the near future. Like right now, I mainly will focus on my mode and try to finish all the stages, since right now we'll only take a look at the first 6 stages, since the others are still in development.
To the king, faster than the wind.
Also, I probably should also install the Old Towers mod just to make things slightly more interesting, I guess. It's not to say that this isn't already extremely different than usual.
Always on target.
And to be honest, I might actually lose again. Okay, 3 lives. Yeah, it's alright, it's alright. Vesper is already at level 6. That's a little bit crazy. Also, rather than getting sold by a single bear, it's a little bit strange. Like, I haven't really buffed any of the stats when it comes to damage, mainly the mini bosses and bosses, which we'll see in a little bit later. Also, the pacing is at least twice as fast when compared to the usual one. Like, levels take twice as less time to finish compared to the vanilla game.
To the king.
Because me personally, I think that a lot of the pacing is rather slow when it comes to the early game. It definitely gets way better during the final act, but the first one, well, nobody really struggled with it. So for this reason, I decided to make it slightly more challenging. Like for example, we can see a lot of turtles coming in, which isn't usual. Yeah, today I worked like 4 or 5 hours to try and finish this mode. I mean, it's still a lot of work left to be done on it. Like the balancing is atrociously bad because Tree Cannon is mostly the best early game tower, and towers like Arcane Wizard and Royal Archers have fallen off. So I'll try to somehow, maybe I'll nerf Tree Cannon and try to give them some more damage as compensation. Since right now a lot of things have to be done when it comes to balancing. I mean, this stage isn't even that hard in particular. It's just that I didn't upgrade any of my heroes' abilities, which definitely make the game easier. So we'll do that right now, and we'll discuss, I guess, some of the changes that have been implemented. We also got Nairo, but I think that I will not be using him, since he basically got next to zero buffs from my part. I guess, yeah, Vesper. His hero spell really got overpowered with his ricochet arrow, like both of them pair insanely well. Also for Relin, we have her Dark Knight. Now he has twice the duration. Like he basically acts as a third hero now. Also the Onslaught ability now has way longer duration, which is always good to see. And the Brutal Slash ability, well, you can see how much damage it does. At max level, it's 1000 damage, which is enough to basically one-shot a bear. So yeah, these are the changes for towers. Basically, I buffed a little bit the Tri-Cannon, made it cheaper all around. Like, for this stage, we unlocked the tower abilities, so I guess I'll showcase them as well. Also, for this stage, we start with a little bit more gold than usual. Like, usually you're supposed to start with 650, but just because I made the early game slightly harder than I liked, well, you can see that we have 60 Hawk Invaders to deal with, which is definitely not usual. I decided to give myself a little bit of a head start also. The prices are different than usual. Basically every single tier for the Tri-Cannon has been buffed. And also the overheat ability basically got its price reduced in half just because I found it to be underwhelming. I haven't really changed bombardment because it's one of the most broken abilities for this mode in particular. I guess you will see. I think in this stage we can already start to notice how broken artilleries are, like compared to the vanilla game, where artilleries are the three worst towers in the game, like we are talking about the Tri-Cannon, Battle Brewmasters, and the Demon Pit. Well, let's say that the roles have been inverted. Also, I don't know why, but I made the raid game a little bit boring. Like the spacing could have been done a lot better for this part, since they're just dwindling one by one. But it gets way more faster later on. Like for example, here we have a lot of Hoglins, but it doesn't matter since Tri-Cannon basically solves all of them. Also, we have slightly more vouchers than usual, which could prove to be an issue, but for this reason we have Vesper, and his ricochet arrow should be able to full clear all the vouchers. Like I just need him to align properly. Like maybe right now it will be a good time for him to shoot it, or maybe not.
Our spears never will.
I guess he's sleepy then. Okay, barely. So yeah, even flying enemies have been buffed to some extent, just to make artilleries a little bit less viable. But at the end of the day, they still prove to be, since, you know, they can hit flank enemies if there is a ground enemy below them. Any changes to dragons? Well, the thing about the dragons is that we will not be seeing them in this live stream, But yes, there have been changes made to them, mainly to Cosmere, whose Crystal Spike ability has been buffed significantly, like its duration has been cut in half, so you can, I guess, count him as a area power machine. Also, his hero spell now summons twice as many spikes, I guess just for good reason. While Lumineer, she got her Holy Sword buffed significantly. It now deals around 2000 damage, if I'm not mistaken. And her hero spell, instead of 3 knights, now summons 6. And one of the worst abilities in the game, which is Lumineer's Balls of Light, like where she throws 5 balls on the track, similar to Boneheart's ability in Frontiers. Well, now they are 10, and they deal 5 times more damage. So instead of the ability dealing 30 total damage to enemies, well, it's now around 200. And acts as a lane clearing machine. But again, we will not be seeing them. Also, yeah, it seems that we already have rhinos coming in on wave 5 on stage 4, which is definitely unusual, since they usually start to appear on stage 5, and also they have more health than the vanilla game. At least for this mode, now they have 2500 health, just to make artilleries, I guess, feel less overpowered, which again didn't really work out, but it's a step in the right direction. Also, it encourages you to micro your heroes, especially I don't even know how you're gonna deal with those rhinos if you're not using Regin, since her Brutal Slash ability has been buffed significantly to now deal 1000 damage, and also the cooldown has been reduced, so she can use that ability more often. Like right now, I guess the ability's already ready, yeah. So rhinos are not that big of an issue if you micro Regin enough. But for this level, if you're going to use Nairo, well, I don't know how you're gonna deal with the rhinos. Also, these cages, well, they haven't been really touched, since I don't know where's the part of the code also. If you saw this, Vesper basically cleared all the vouchers. Like, the bouncing arrow is such a fun ability to use. Like, I really like the idea of nerfing its cooldown, but at the same time making it feel like it's a powerful ability. Like, I guess a second hero spell, some of you might say. Also, his basic ranged attacks have been buffed to make him deal around twice as much damage as he usually does, just so he is even more efficient when it comes to dealing with flying enemies. Also, there is a really huge clump of enemies approaching, that's why we're relying mainly on tri-cannons. Otherwise, I don't even see how one Royal Archer could deal with them. At least the good thing about the huge increase in enemies is that we also get more gold, so we can afford more towers, which means more tri-cannons, so there is not really anything to worry about. Like, it gets a little bit more messy when we have this huge clump of enemies combined with rhinos, like right now, since tri-cannons are not that efficient, again, to deal with the rhinos. So you have to micro your hero, otherwise, well, you're not gonna be able to deal with them. Also, just for good measure, the rhinos now deal 3 times more damage than usual, just so you know. You cannot leave your hero fighting them for too long, otherwise it will be too easy. Also, even the Dark Knight, well, he doesn't really stand a chance. Basically gets two-shotted by the Rhino. Also, I might be in trouble here. Like, I didn't play that proper game. I just wanted to showcase it, how the Rhino got his damage buffed, but I really need Regin right now. At least, we have her movement speed increased.
You have my permission to die.
And yeah, she will be able to finish him off. Like, I really like this aspect of having one hero designed for that one activity. Like, for example, right now we have Ragin just to deal with the rhinos, otherwise our setup cannot really deal with them for the time being. And we also have Vesper to finish off all the flank enemies, since his ricochet arrow basically erases all of them. Also, we have two rhinos coming in right now, which will be a little bit tricky to deal with. I'll have to micro-rag a lot,
You have my permission to die.
but she used her Brutal Slash ability already, so I'll have to wait a little bit.
Hardly a match. Protect the green.
Also, I guess Arcane should work, because I buffed his Disintegrate ability. Like right now it deals 2100 damage when maxed out, so it's definitely powerful when it comes to dealing with rhinos. Like, it's not quite enough to one-shot them, but it definitely helps. Also, empowerment has been buffed to now only cost 150 to encourage the support of this tower with the others. Otherwise, at 212 I found out that it's a little bit too much for my liking, but I'm really satisfied with the spot it is right now.
Hardly a match.
Also, we have more rhinos approaching, so you know the drill by this point. Micro Reagan, she will be able to stop them in most cases. If not, we also have the Arcane. I mean, this setup is really busted. Like, we have Tri-Cannons to deal with all the weaker enemies, while we have Ragin and the Arcane to deal with the Rhinos. Also, them charging, I didn't really buff any of that department, just because I thought that it's already enough as it is. Also, I don't know, maybe at one point I will try to make a mode which makes all the heroes as powerful as Ice Cold, and see if anyone can beat the game with just one hero and no towers. That's not like a fun challenge, doesn't it? Okay, so we are already at stage 5, and we have Vesper maxed out, which, you know, it's always good to see. We also have Ragin at level 5. I mean, this ability in particular is the one that we really wanted. The others, they have been buffed from, I guess, some parts of them, but they're not crucial for our performance. I also forgot to get my Shadow Archers, so they'll make my life a little bit easier. Okay, so for this stage in particular, there haven't been a lot of changes made, just because the stage was already hard enough as it is. Like, the final waves have been made a little bit more difficult, but I think that the previous stage was slightly harder than this one. Well, the main thing that you have to worry about this level is are vouchers, since you cannot really start with a Tri-Cannon. You would want to, just because there are a lot of groups of enemies that you encounter during the first parts of the level, but vouchers will prevent you from doing so. Or I guess you can do that if you want to use Vesper's as bouncing arrow. Like, yeah, it will deal with all of them. Like, that's such a fun ability. Also, for the most part, the ballista hasn't been touched. I guess that's just for meme purposes, since a lot of people think that ballista is broken. And I was like, okay, if people think that ballista is broken, then I'm not going to touch it at all. Wow, I actually buffed the ego of the Royal Archers, since it's really underpowered in the vanilla game. So I decreased the costs in half. I don't know how much will that accomplish, but I still think that it's a good change.
Always on target.
Bring it on. You have my
Also,
permission to die.
just wanted to repeat myself again.
I am
Currently, the
unrivaled.
mod only works for the first 6 stages of the game,
You have my
since I
permission
haven't
to
touched
die.
any of the others.
On target.
So they're basically the same as the vanilla game. Like there are no changes there.
Easy meat, hardly a match.
Win. To the
Just
king.
wanted to get that out of the way.
Always on
I mean, you can still play the other stages with the overpowered heroes,
blink.
but they'll make your life way too easier.
I am
Always on
unrivaled. Bring it
target.
on.
Faster than a win.
Also, I guess I should have probably spent a little bit more time on this stage in particular. Yeah, for the next time, I'll definitely rework some of the waves, since I'm not really satisfied with the pacing that it is right now. Like, it could use some more polish. Also, it's so funny to use Regin against the bears. Like, she'll just approach them and insta-kill them.
Always on target. Don't
But I mean, I don't know what you guys think about this, but after I somehow managed to implement all the balance changes and so on, I'll also try and buff some of the enemies. Like, for example, I guess the bears could use an armor increase.
Hardly a
Like, just make them have 80% armor, so they don't really suffer from tri-cannon spam, since it's explosive damage, and explosive damage ignores only 50% of armor. But if you have 8%, well, it's still 40% decrease, so you know, it counts.
I am unrivaled.
to the king. Don't blink. Always on target.
Hardly a match.
No mercy.
Also, when it comes to stats for the first couple of enemies, they haven't really been changed. Like the only enemy that I decided to change were rhinos, since as a mini boss, they should be felt as a real enemy, not like a breeze to deal with.
Always on
Since in the vanilla game you can basically just use one arcane, max the insta-kill, and well, he's down, or basically every single hero can deal with him either way. So you don't really have to worry about him. So yeah, I really should have spent a little bit more time on this stage, but at least the next one is insane. Like, I can guarantee you, the next one is the cherry on the cake.
Bring it on.
no mercy. Big bada bing. Keep it up and running.
Also, at some point during this level, again, there might be a lot of hyenas, which will start to show up.
Don't blink.
So I will try to get my tri-cannons preemptively. Also, I guess we could probably check out some of the other towers that have been rebalanced. Like, for example, the paladins' cost have been decreased for every single tier. Also, one of their abilities have been reworked to an extent, just because I thought that it should feel a little bit more unique than it is in the vanilla game, so I'll probably try and show it as well. But they are super cheap to get now. Like, you only need to spend 240 gold to get them to tier 4 from tier 3, which isn't a lot at all. Also, Vesper's hero spell now sends around 10 to 12 more arrows, if I remember correctly.
You have my permission to die.
Since it's one of the worst hero spells in the game, and I decided to make it a little bit more usable.
Always on target. To the king. Don't blink.
Bring it on.
But like, having Krellin do this is just really satisfying. Since seeing her finally being able to move. Also, I guess, yeah, I haven't really shown a lot of her hero spell. Like the Dark Knight right now, he has 40-second uptime, so that's basically a 60% of the time he will be on the field. Also, let's see how Regin performs against the Bear Woodcutter. I think she will be able to solo him really confidently.
To the king.
You have my permission to die.
Yeah, well, that was a joke. I guess in the next version he'll definitely have more HP.
Always
since 900 is just pathetic for the standards of this mod.
Bring it on. Hardly a match.
Also, this is the ability that I changed vastly. Like, it costs it 350, 100 more than usual. But now it boosts your allied units by 40% instead of 20. And also the paladin, like the main paladin, got his stats increased further just to make him feel more special. Since a lot of people were calling him basically the same as the other paladins, and I wasn't that big a fan of that idea. Why didn't I take Nairo? Well, basically Ragin is the best hero right now for the early game, since we will start to encounter rhinos a little bit later, and she is the best counter to them. Like, Nairo got some buffs, but they weren't enough to make him a decent choice, at least for my case. I mean, it could still work, but Ragin is just so much more fun than Nairo. Like, she got her movement speed doubled, her insta-kill is now way more often occurring. Like, she's just a 1v1 monster. And really satisfying to use as well.
No mercy. Always on target. Don't blink. Always on target. Blink.
Also, just because I haven't said that already, the Iron and Heroic stages have been unchanged for the time being, so we will only be sticking to the main campaign.
Hardly a match.
I will probably at some point
To die.
try to revamp them as well, but right now I'll mainly focus on finishing the campaign, rebalancing the mode, like all the towers and heroes, to make them all have a role and like don't feel underpowered or anything like that, since I like having everything as balanced as possible.
No mercy.
Well, Nairo is definitely a really solid hero. I mean, he's easily the best one out of the three heroes, and also in my rank list he's ranked 4
Always on.
after the Dragons and Anya. It goes to show that, well, he's definitely one of the better heroes in the game. Like, all of his abilities pair so well with each other.
Faster than the wind. Don't blink. To the
And also, yeah, the mobility is really nice. But I mean, when you have Ragin,
on target.
which can do this,
A match.
like, who even needs Nairo
You have my
at this point?
permission to die.
Did this mod buff Torres? Actually, it did, but I think he still needs a lot more buffs to make him feel usable. For starters, he got his movement speed tripled. Like, not doubled, tripled. And that still wasn't enough. The ability where he builds a tower, it got its damage tripled as well. And it's still not enough, at least for this mod. His builders were also significantly buffed,
Hardly a match.
like their survivability has been tripled as well,
Permission to die.
and they also deal a little bit more damage. Also, Vesper is so broken with the Ricochet arrow, like I cannot even stress that enough.
Always on target.
But yeah, this is mostly it for Torres. Also, his hero spell got its cooldown reduced, just for good measure, and its damage slightly increased,
Unrivaled.
just so he can one-shot Husks on the third act of the campaign.
To the king.
Also, I still don't know how I feel about flyers. Maybe I should buff them slightly, since right now they only have how much? 50 HP? Yeah, and 50 isn't that lot, to be honest. Like, yeah, they could use some buffs as well.
Bring it on. Hardly a match.
Astounding. Ashes to ashes.
Okay, let's see how Ragin performs. Well, that was a joke.
To die.
I guess Arcane also carried. Also, I buffed the cost to make it only 120, since you after you get the tier 1, there aren't a lot of significant increases in power. Like you still have the insta-kill, it's just that it deals more damage to mini-bosses and bosses. Also, this ability is now really useful, since it's 150, it's not that much, and 40% increase in damage is nothing to neglect. Well, in order to make Torres good, you basically have to buff everything about him, which is just crazy, since for Railing, to make her a fun hero to use, I only needed to buff her movement speed, make her hero spell last longer, and buff her insta-kill. Or, well, it's not insta-kill, like, it only deals 500 damage. Right now it does 1000, just for fun.
You have my permission to die.
While Vesper only got his hero spell changed and his bouncing arrow. I guess his stun arrow also now deals twice as much damage, just to make him more reliable when dealing with blinkers, which I still don't know how to balance. Like probably I'll make blinkers have around 5 or 600 HP, basically make them unkillable, and make you rely on your heroes for that part. Also, the Ricochet arrow is just so fun to use. Okay, final wave for this stage. I think it was one of the things that I changed about stage 5 in particular.
You have my permission to die. I am unrivaled.
But I mean, I cannot really wait to show you the next stage, because it's just insane, as the name of the mod implies. Like, from the first 6 stages, I think that this is the one that definitely needs more work on it.
Hardly a match.
But the next one is definitely something. I guess if you guys want, I could probably also show some of the hero balances that I decided to implement in another save file, since right now I started from a fresh save, just so things are fair and all. Like, I know that I have Vesper at level 10, but still, at least I will not be having all the upgrades maxed out. Also, you will be able to notice how more tankier the purple paladin is compared to the others. Since his armor got vastly increased, and I guess his overall HP also got slight changes. Like, he's able to tank the Rhino, which deals 90 to 180 damage, which is just crazy. So basically, you will see what this mod does in the next stage. Like this one, it didn't really showcase a lot of the things that were made in this mod. So I hope that the next one will showcase a lot of the things that were implemented. Like, I cannot really wait to show you guys. It's just crazy. Okay, so we got the Arborian Emissary finally, which honestly, I guess I'll use it just for Gore Grind, since Gore Grind got buffed way too much. Like, he's no longer a pushover like he's in the vanilla game. So we'll have to employ some strategies to deal with him. Well, he doesn't really have 100,000 hit points, but you'll see how much he has when we get there. Okay, for starters, we have slightly more enemies than usual. Nothing too fancy or anything. One of the best strategies that I found out for this level in particular was basically just spamming Tri-Cannon. Also, we have a Rhino coming in already on wave 1. Okay, I might need railing for this part. Also a huge clump of Hoglins. Nothing that Vesper's hero spell cannot deal with.
I am unrivaled.
I guess the left side is slightly lacking for the time being,
Always on
so I will just rely on Realin to deal with everything that comes from here.
Hardly a match.
Okay, this is just really funny to look at. Like, it doesn't really matter how much of them try to show up, since we can basically just do this. But it's still fun to see regardless. Like, maybe they could use some health buffs, I guess.
special delivery. Swift and deadly.
So this is one of the main reasons why I like to use Vesper, since his hero spell is really busted, at least for the early levels in this mode.
You have my permission to die.
To the king. Always
I
on
am unrivaled.
Honestly, I might be in a little bit of trouble here. These vultures are getting further than I like. But that's why I have Vesper's hero spell again to save me.
at the ready.
Also, the pacing for this stage in particular, it has been doubled. So from 15 minutes, now the stage lasts only around 8 minutes, which I personally really enjoy. Yeah, basically, this stage really encourages you to use artilleries. Like, I don't even know how you're gonna deal with all of this if you rely on purely archers. Also, yeah, I guess Dune Sentinels might also work, but we don't have them unlocked yet. Like, the only artillery that we can use for the time being is the Tri-Cannon. So we'll try to exploit it as much as possible.
Always on
Bring it
target.
on.
No mercy. Swift and deadly. Don't blink.
Okay, like, these rats are funny and all, coming in that huge of a wave. But again, that's why we have Tri-Cannon, and also Bombardment will definitely be nerfed. Like, that feels illegal to use.
From the shadows. Faster than the wind. To the king. Always on target.
Also, we have a lot of bears from this side. I guess mainly I try to make the left side have more tankier enemies in general,
No mercy.
and the right side have more grouped enemies. Like right now, you can see this huge clump of turtles.
Faster than
If you're going to use mages in this part, yeah, I don't know how you're gonna be able to deal with it. Also, this wave in particular is one of my favorites because it combines all of the enemies that you encounter during the first act.
Unrivaled.
Also, I might need Regin for this rhino, since again, artilleries are not that efficient.
Hardly a match. You have my permission to die.
Also, I tried to buff most of the hero regenerate,
I am unrivaled.
like basically doubling it,
Bring it on.
just so heroes can recover more quicker and get into the action faster. And it also encourages micro more. Also, we have 3 rhinos coming on wave 9, which is just crazy to think about. Like, at this point, even if you try to rely on Arcane Wizard or Royal Archers, they will not get the job done.
Hardly a match. Is that all you've
Even artilleries feel more powerful in this case, since you can damage all 3 of them at the same time. Yeah, I guess maybe some of the waves should get a little bit less enemies, since right now I have way too much gold for my liking. Or I don't know, actually, I think I'll just make them give you less gold, so you have
unrivaled.
less money to work with, and it will make the stages even harder. Like, for example, the Hawk Invaders give you 5 gold, I think that I'll make them just give you 2 or 3 gold. And it should definitely balance everything out, at least to some extent. Since, as you saw, the Tri-Cannon doesn't really care how much Hawk Invaders get sent at us. Also, I'm still learning how to make enemy formations. Like, this is a really basic attempt of trying to make one formation,
I am unrivaled.
since I am not really familiar with the spacing of the code and how it works exactly. But with time, I think I'll get the hang of it. Also, we are getting closer to Gorgrind,
Hardly a
so it will be fun to see how the boss fight turns out.
hardly a match.
Also, I really like the overheat ability right now, because it only costs you 120 gold per tier, which is basically next to
You
nothing.
have my permission to die.
I guess my main reasoning was to encourage both of the tower abilities to be used, but again, a lot of balancing still needs to be done, and this is just a beta showcase, so if anything seems unbalanced or should be harder, easier, well, that is the main reason. Like, if you think that using artillery in the vanilla game is boring, since it doesn't work, in this mode, artilleries are busted and are definitely fun to use. So at the very least, we have this going on for us.
You have my permission to die.
Like, I mean, the basic strategy is just to spam Tri-Cannon, and this tower will be able to solve everything, apart from rhinos. Like, I'll still need Regin to stop them. I guess, yeah, barracks might be a little bit underwhelming in this mode, since we have way too much enemies to worry about, and it's more efficient to just go for
My permission
artilleries rather than barracks. I guess one way to fix that is to make some of the enemies faster. Like, yeah, I think maybe if I make rhinos move 3 or 4 times faster, it will encourage the use of barracks. Otherwise, only artillery spam will not get you the job done. Also, their damage was increased significantly, but if you are not going to use barracks, then what's the point of their damage increase either way? So a speed increase will definitely be a good change to the rhinos in particular.
I am unrivaled.
Okay, we are already at the final wave, after which we'll see how the boss battle goes.
Bring it on.
So I'll already start to prepare for it in advance. Also, so many skunks that even Vesper cannot sustain the fire. And for the final wave, I just decided to throw in 5 rhinos. And this huge pack of turtle shamans and hyenas. Like, the thought process that maybe the turtle shamans would be able to negate the artillery's damage. So that's why I went for the emissary roots to stun them.
You have my permission to die.
But yeah, I guess 3 cannon spam still way overpowered, at least for this mode. Like, for example, if those rhinos had their movement speed tripled, artilleries would not even stand a chance against them. Okay, I might need a hero for this part. Yeah. Okay, so that was fun. Now let's see how buffed Gorgrant is. Well, I will look into balance changes in the future, but for now, we'll just stick to what we have. So Gorgon right now has 14,000 hit points and deals 150 to 300 damage. So if we place Regin against him, well, he'll basically 3-shot her and not give her a chance to fight. Also, the Dark Knight cannot even survive 2 hits. Vesper as well. Like, bro basically melts everyone in his way. Well, actually, I guess he could use some more hit points. Like, maybe 20k should be okay. Also, I'm not really sure if I'm playing on veteran. I might have played on normal during this whole time.
Hardly a match. You have my
If that's the case,
permission.
then I'm sorry.
I am unrivaled.
Or maybe I'm just messing around with the numbers since I test everything on impossible first in my main file. And I haven't tried this mode yet on a fresh file. But yeah, we will be able to stop Gore Grind on time since, you know, Regin now does 1000 damage. But I mean, he still got far though. Managed to get his second jump. So yeah, basically, this was the part of the campaign that I managed to overhaul for the time being. I guess I will also show you some of the later stages, since I did buff some of the enemies. And I guess I'll also show some of the balance changes that I implemented into most of the heroes, just to see them in action. Okay, so which heroes would you like to see? I guess a lot of you would like to see how powerful the dragons have become, so we'll start with them. As far as towers go, I guess the Flame Spitter got buffs all around, so I'll try to use him. As well as the... which one? Yeah, the Emissary also got buffed, so I'll use it as well. Yeah, I guess this will be our setup for the Overseer. Just to make sure. Yeah, impossible, okay. Well, for the Demon Pit, I made the Big Boss ability have its cooldown reduced in half, just so the impact gets fueled more frequently. Also, this ability has been buffed to now only cost 150, since at least for me, I think that it was a little bit overpriced at 250. Also, now Woman spawns 10 bolts instead of 5, which deal more damage than usual. I guess I will also show Cosmir's hero spell when we get more enemies to face.
It's all in the wrist.
Okay, so I'll first showcase Lumineer's hero spell. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paladins. So it's definitely a really solid ability if you have a lot of abominations or Blade Call horrors coming in. Yo, Vadyuki, what's up, my man? Good to see you here. And just showcasing one random mode that I came up with today. It's still in beta version, so there is not really a whole lot to check out. Also, Luminir's Holy Blade now deals 2000 damage, and Cosmir's insta-kill now works for enemies up to 3k HP, so it's basically an insta-kill now. You know, Yuki, you're a moderator just because I like you, nothing more to say about that. Also, Luminir is really fun to use, since as you can see, you can basically summon a whole army of paladins in an instant. Also, the cooldown has been reduced. And the ability where Cosmere goes to the ground to summon all of the shards got its cooldown lowered in half, because it's one of the best abilities in the game and it's really satisfying to utilize it as much as possible. I guess enemies will be buffed to compensate for that, since right now you can basically just place Cosmere in this spot and he'll be able to solo the whole lane by himself. Also, these Scourges got slight HP increase. The main balancing around them is when they get to their final form, which hopefully will not happen. At least I got saved by Lumineer this time. But when they get to the flying form, basically they're unkillable. So if you let them get to the glare, well, that's just a skill issue on your part. Also, 12 paladins in action. Really, definitely fun to see. Also, behemoths for some reason now have almost 6k HP. And I'm still not sure if that's enough. Maybe they could use another HP increase. Also, they deal slightly more damage. Just because of Anya, since she basically cheeses them. And this is aimed to make her not being able, I guess, to fight them in 1v1 case scenario. Also, finally, the event horizon is useful, since it only costs 150 now to get. And also, rising stars have been buffed slightly, so now when the Elven Stargazer kills an enemy, 9 stars pop out instead of 5, I think was the vanilla. Well, yeah, the Dune Sentinels were buffed slightly, so that's not their realistic power in vanilla version. The Overseer hasn't been touched. I'm considering to make him have 50,000 HP in the future. But again, to repeat myself, this is just a test version. Nothing is final, a lot of balance has to be done. Okay, we are barely able to beat the stage with 3 stars. Okay, we showcase the dragons, I guess. I'll showcase Therian, just because I think that this ability now might be the best one in the game. Also, I think that Grimson might be fun for some of you to see. Or, I don't know, maybe Unagro. Unagro is also a really solid hero in this mode. But I'll just go for Grimson this time around. I guess we will also showcase some of the other towers. Like the Paladins in particular, I'm a huge fan of them, just because this ability now grants them 40% damage increase and makes one of the Paladins actually useful. Also, Therian can now trigger her teleport even in this move. Like, yeah, you get the point, you get the point. I cannot really explain that well right now. Okay, I guess we'll start with the Elven Stargazer. Also, when Therian uses her range boost for the towers, the range increase is really insane. I'll try to showcase it when the time comes for it. Also, one really slight change for the emissary, like the pixies were made slightly cheaper, and getting the tower to tier 4 is also a little bit cheaper. Just because it's a support tower, I didn't really want to make it that broken. So I decided just to went on slight gold buffs and that's about it. Also, you can see the rifts in action. They'll melt basically everything that touches them. They deal around 1500 damage for the whole duration, I think. Also, yeah, we already have mods, but this one is so early on in development that I would not really consider it a mod, as a mod, like, maybe to some extent. because it still balances out a lot of things. Also, one really cool thing about Grimson that I did was that his spike ability, like the one where he stretches his arm, now deals around 300 damage. Also, spawners got their HP increased slightly, just so they can survive Reagan's insta-kill. Like, that was the main thought process behind the change. Also, rocket gunners got their price decreased slightly, and their abilities also got their price reduced. Just because both of the abilities were, well, they weren't as good as some of the other towers. And I hope that these changes encourage more the use of the rocket gunners, especially with the phosphoric coating, since now we have way more enemies to deal with. Also, Blade Claw Horrors got slight HP changes, like from 1200 to 1600. Also, Noxious Spitters now can one-shot your heroes. If I can get one of them to target Therian, please. Okay, I guess this Rocket Rider will be a good showcase. Like, if you can hit at least Grimson, please. Okay, that didn't work as I thought. Maybe finally. Yeah, you can see that it deals quite a significant amount of damage. Basically two-shotted Grimson. So Spitters should be really... you should have an eye on them, otherwise they will one-shot all of your heroes. Like, I'll try to showcase it again with Therian. Like, please, someone hit her, please. Okay, maybe this spot. Okay, and the final change was that they got slight HP increase, just so they don't suffer way too much from hero spells. Also, Grimson got his hero spell damage increase slightly, just so he can one-shot the husks.
Don't fear the unknown. Reach for the stars.
Cleanse the land.
Also, I'm still not sure if rocket gunners need an HP increase, since right now they still die way too easily. And the fact that spitters have been buffed, well, maybe it would be a good idea to compensate by buffing the rocket gunners to make them have a niche. Like, maybe I'll make them have 65% armor, so they can survive for a little bit longer than usual. Also, I tried to make Grimson use his mutant form more effectively. Now it triggers at 50% instead of 25%, but he still dies quite easily. Like, this behemoth was still able to defeat him even in his mutant form, even though it received 2 buffs. So it still wasn't enough.
Sky's not my limit. The void stares back. Don't fear the unknown. Behold the unending. The sky's not my
But I mean, I'm really excited to finish this mode. I think that it will turn out to be super interesting. And there will be a whole different meta when compared with the vanilla version. And also, once again, this is just a first look into the mode, so if anything feels out of place or is unbalanced and so on, well, that's the main reason. I guess to finish this stream, I'll showcase Warhead and Onagro, since both of them got slight changes. One thing that I was not happy was not buffing Onagro's movement speed. At least when it comes to Warhead, he can now use his jets even in close proximity. Like, as you can see, even if you move him not that much, he'll still use his jets, just because his movement speed is really slow. Also, Nagru got his damage increased significantly to now deal 50 to 70. And he's probably right now the best air counter in the game. Just because that's the same purpose that he has in the vanilla version, and I didn't really want it to make him that different, let's say. But I mean, changes like this one in particular are really fun because it makes the ability vastly different than the vanilla game, and it's just exciting to try it out for first time. I mean, we have those blinkers, but once again, Onagoro is basically an air defense when it comes to the blinkers, so they're not that huge of an issue for us. Also, his hero spell got its cooldown reduced slightly, just because I think it's one of the worst hero spells in the game. Also, these spawners are supposed to spawn 5 eyes instead of 3, which they don't seem to be doing right now. Okay, this time they spawned 4, but I've coded it so that it's 5, not 4. So I don't know, I'll have to fix that as well. Well, it's not just the 20% extra increase in damage, like his stats overall were increased, so if he encounters a behemoth or blade claw horror, he will be able to tank them like for an eternity. So he acts like a third hero to some extent. Also, this ability got unchanged just because it paired way too well with the purple paladin one, and I decided to leave it at that. Also, I tried to nerf some of Onagor's abilities, like the one where he tries to slow the enemies or stun them, increased their cooldown slightly just so he can focus more on using his basic attack. Since if you'd like to have someone for stalling or support, you might as well try to use Warhead, since he has insane area damage now, since both his hero spell and the smoke screen abilities got buffed. Also, the Eldritch Channeler split beam got buffed. Well, this change is slightly biased, just because I'm a huge fan of the tower, and I don't want it to be outclassed by artilleries, which are definitely one of the strongest towers in this mode in particular. So at max level, it's 90% instead of 75. The price hasn't been changed, but basically right now you can target up to 4 enemies and he'll perform the same damage to all 4 of them. I mean, it's 9%, not a 100, but still. But yeah, some enemies also will have to be rebalanced to have more hit points, since the heroes are really overpowered. Like right now, we are basically defending everything with just the heroes. I mean, yeah, we have one Royal Archer here, but I'm mostly relying on the heroes to clean everything up. Also, Husks, for some reason, they stopped throwing out glare rings. I guess that has to do with the end nodes, because I increased them to make Husks less annoying. But I think that I'll have to change that again, since they basically never get the chance to throw their glarings, at least in this stage. For the others, it's not the same, but the paths in this one are so short that basically the safe nodes get triggered somewhere at the start of the path. Also, even though Warhead is the tankiest hero in the game, he still cannot sustain the damage output of the behemoth. Okay, like, come on, man. I wanted to see the paladins in action against the behemoth and you decide to delete that tower spot. Well, that's unfortunate. I guess we will see that some other time. Well, I managed to showcase most of the heroes. The others weren't that fun as the ones I showcased. We also took a look at the first part of the campaign. The other two are still work in progress. I'll also try to balance all the towers and heroes to make the mode more appealing. Also, one thing to note is that this ability has been changed. Like the description is misleading. It now has 100% chance to trigger and it decreases the tower abilities cost by 10%. It's just a funny change to get rid of the RNG. Yeah, husks have been nerfed to not be able to throw out their glarings when close to the exit, but they will be buffed next time. Okay, we will make one final showcase
Always on
of
target.
stage 6 because I'm really proud of how it turned out. And to those who I guess haven't seen it already, we'll use Vesper and Regan just to keep things, I guess, simple. Since you don't have all of the dragons and powerful heroes unlocked at this point in the campaign.
Faster than
You have
wind.
my permission to
I
die.
guess we can see level 10 Regan in action against the Raising Rhino. Also, Vesper just annihilating all of the rats with his bouncing arrow is really fun to see.
Swift and deadly.
I mean, I'm really happy with at least how Raylin's design turned out at the end. Like, she's now a 1v1 monster and has insane burst damage, but her AoE is still lacking, so you'd still need someone else
No mercy.
for that department.
The truth is out there.
All guns blazing. High and low. Swift and deadly. Feel the burn. All guns
I guess
blazing.
I really wanted to try out the rocket gunners with the area damage ability to see how it performs.
To the king.
Reach for the stars.
The truth is out there.
Hunting high and low.
Because I feel like it should be powerful in this mode, and it also got its price decreased to encourage it even further.
There be stars.
Always on target.
I mean, also don't forget that I have a maxed out upgrade tree, even though I'm playing on impossible, so things are definitely easier than usual.
All guns blazing. Faster than wind.
Hardly
To the
a
king.
match.
Time for target mercy. Just say the word. Scour the skies.
Well, if you miss something, you can always rewind the stream, like I'll have it uploaded as soon as the stream finishes. I basically showcased all the stages from the first to the sixth one. We also took a look at the balance changes that I implemented for the heroes, and that was about it. Like, the mode is still really early on in development,
You have my
so there
permission
aren't
to
a lot of
die.
things to look at.
Unrivaled. Bring it on.
No mercy.
You have my permission to die.
Also, I really like that you can have now up to 3 Dark Knights on the field at the same time. That's really unusual to see. Yeah, I know that they're barely any levels, that's why I'm trying to learn how to add new levels by myself. But I still have some files, like some game files that I need to find before I can start adding in levels. Like, as soon as I figure out how to add one, I'll be able to add new level every single month. So this will be really exciting. Also, I know that it doesn't have endless mode, but I will make the Overseer battle feel like one. Because the plans, at least for the Overseer, are to either make him have like 60, 50, 70k HP, or maybe 100k, like who knows. So he'll definitely feel like an endless battle, and since heroes are way overpowered in this mode when compared to the vanilla game, you will be able to survive the enemy waves with just the heroes. And it will be fun for some of you to try and beat the Overseer with no tower spots, since by the time that you get to his final HP threshold, he will have deleted all of your tower spots. Also, one of the funniest things in this mode, at least right now, is that on wave 9, there are 3 rhinos, which is not intentional, like I screwed up in that department.
You have my permission to die.
That's definitely not balanced. I mean, with level 10 heroes, it should still be easy for us to deal with them. But on a fresh save, it's definitely harder. Do I think that they'll make the game bigger? Well, they already confirmed that in October we'll be getting 3 stages, you know. And they also said that another update has been confirmed, but we just don't know when it will be released yet. And a third one is in the makings. So for right now, we already have how many? At least 9 levels to look forward to. Yeah, Raglan is a really fun hero to use in this mode since her movement speed got double, which was a really great addition since it makes microing her way more easy now.
You have my permission to die.
And Rhinos also got their damage tripled, so just as a compensation, I guess.
Bring it on.
Okay, I really need an artillery for this part, but I didn't pick one intentionally to see how hard the level will be without artilleries. I assume that it's still possible, but I'm definitely struggling without Vesper's hero spell. Well, yeah, I could definitely use some help when it comes to balancing, but the thing is that a lot of the things will have to be rebalanced around the enemy groups. Like, you see how many enemies we have here? Like, if you are not using artilleries, you're just uh, doing something wrong. Like, this level in particular really encourages you to use artilleries, and if you don't, well, you can see what will happen. Yeah, we will be losing this one. Well, that is actually crazy. Considering that I have level 10 heroes and still losing to this stage. Well, at least you get the point. If you don't bring in artilleries like the Tricannon, well, you're doomed. So, I guess this will be for this stream then. I hope that all of you enjoyed the early showcase of the Nightmare mode. It will get rebalanced. All the campaign levels will get their wave compositions changed. So it will be like experiencing a whole new game. So stay tuned about that. It will come in a week or two, depending on how much lazy I am. But for now, this was it. I hope that all of you enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Good day, good afternoon, and good night to everyone who stopped by. Appreciate all of you, and bye.